Today I'm going to be showing you this beautiful cards to call to action review animation that you can do easily using Elementor, and it also works on mobile devices as well. As you can see, let's get down into the tutorial. So the first thing you want to do is you want to create your outer section. So I'm just going to drag in the container into this and name it outer section, right? So when you do that, the next thing you want to bring in is your parent container. If you are new to this channel, I usually write a complete article for every tutorial I do, so you can follow through and work through it and troubleshoot and all that, to help you troubleshoot and all that. So, but the most important part of any of my tutorial is this architecture tree section here. You can see we already created this outer section container. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to copy the advanced CSS code. So we're going to come back there, then go to advanced, then place that in. Then after that, we create our parent container. So I'm just going to drag that in, name this parent really quickly. So the next thing we want to do is let's come back to instruction guide here. So when we come to the instruction guide, you can see that the styles widget is the next thing. So the next thing you want to do is you just search for HTML, you drag that in, you understand. So the next thing we want to do is we want to create our sticky container. So I'm just going to copy this so we don't have to come back here, drag in another container. So we have sticky. I'm just going to call it sticky. Then we'll go to the advanced CSS tab, then paste in our code, right? So the next thing we want to do is we come back here. We can see after the sticky container, we have the inner container. So I'm just going to come back outside, then drag in yet another container. Then we come back out. We then create the heading group. You understand? For the heading group container, I'm just going to copy this advanced CSS, then go back, then drag in another container here. I'm just going to name this heading group, right? Then I go to advanced, then paste in the code. You understand? So the next thing we want to do is we just want to design this little block of text here. You understand? So I'm just going to put in generic stuff right here. So the next thing I want to do is I'm just going to come back to the instruction guide here. Then I'm going to copy this C2C eyebrow. Then I'm going to go to advanced tab here, then I'm going to paste it in, right? So the next thing you want to do is you want to duplicate the heading. So you change this from span to H2. Then I'm going to make the color a bit whiter, right? Don't worry about you not saying anything here yet. For the heading, the title, you don't need any advanced CSS, so you just need to style this however you want to style it, right? So speaking of styling, let's do something real quick. So we come to styles here, then we change the background to something dark. So the next thing you want to do is you want to add in the description. Come, drag in text editor widget. Let me just cut this off here, then I'm going to center it. So the next thing you want to do is you come to advanced here. You're going to paste the code that we copied. So the next thing we want to do is we come back here, and you can see we are done creating all this. Then the next thing to do is we then create the cards. You understand? Then we create the cards. You can see we have card 1, card 2, card 3, and so on. So for this kind of stuff now, I'm just going to come back out here, click on the inner column, because if you check this hierarchy, you can see we have the outer, we have the parent. So inside the parent is where we have the styles tab and the sticky container. So inside the sticky container is where we have the inner column. Then inside the inner column is where we are building our main design. You understand? So if we come out here, you can see inside the inner column. So I'm going to click on that. Then I'm going to click this out, then dragging a container, and I'm going to name this card1, right? So when you name it card1, the next thing you want to do is I'm just going to come out here and see. Okay, we have two options. We have option A, which is to get the HTML widgets below. The option B is if you want more granular design, you can decide to build out these cards yourself. But if not, if you don't want to build out these cards yourself, you can copy the HTML code for each card. Then you're just going to duplicate. You understand? So for the purpose of this tutorial, and there might be people that are not really skilled, so I'm just going to use the HTML code option. You understand? So when we come back here, we can we so we've created card one. I'm just going to copy the advanced CSS code here. You understand? So when I copy the advanced CSS code, I'm going to come out here, then paste this here. So once I do that, the next thing you want to do is you come out, then you copy the option A. This is the HTML code. You understand? It's not bulky, so it's easy for you to edit whenever you want to do that. So I'm just going to come out, then search for HTML. I'm going to put that in. You understand? I'm going to paste the code. As you can see, nothing fancy, just nothing happening. So the next thing you want to do is you come back out here, scroll back up, just to be sure that we are on the right path. So we've copied the advanced CSS class for the card one. We've copied out the HTML for option A. So we are not using this option B right here. So that means that is done. So once you do that, the next thing you want to do now is you want to then come out here in card one, then you duplicate this 7 times for this particular UI. So I'm just going to duplicate this. So yeah, we are done duplicating. So once we finish duplicating, what we want to do is you want to click on each card, then come to the advanced CSS here. Then you're going to change this one at the back to the next number. So we've done 2. So we are done creating this. By the way, if you know you can't do all this, I always include a link to the downloadable file that you can download on my website in the description. So don't forget to check that out. But I always advise people to still watch the tutorial, because by the time you download the editable file, you'll be able to know what to do and how to go about it. You understand? Next thing we want to do is if we come out here, you can see that we've now duplicated all these and we've given it the correct advanced CSS class. So what you want to do now is you scroll down here, then I'm going to copy the this style widget, this style code here. Then I'll come to this parent. So we have going to come back here to the first HTML code that we created, and I'm going to add in the stuff. So if your stuff appears like this, don't worry. The reason why it's appearing like this is because if we come to the inner widgets here, we skip the step. So if you don't set this vertical height, you understand, it's just saying all the cards here are just going to be on a straight line. You understand? So what you want to do is you're just going to change this to VH and change it to 100. You understand? So once you do that, just save it. This would correct itself if you refresh the page or if you check the front end. So once we do that, let's come back to this structure here. So we've added in the HTML widgets. So the next thing for us to do is to add in the script widget. So before we had the script guide, we missed out on something, which is the CTA section design. So I'm just going to copy that HTML. Then if you see inside there, we have the CTA block. So in the CTA block, I'm just going to click on inner here, then bring in another block, another container, which we'll just name CTA, right? Then inside it, I'll drop an HTML widget. So I'm going to drop in the HTML widget, then paste in the code. So you can edit these as well. So let's go back to our instruction and copy the JavaScript code. Once you copy the JavaScript code, we're just going to click on the outer container, then bring in another HTML widget, right? So I'm just going to paste that in. So before we check the front end, let's just do one sweep around the architecture tree again to see if we missed out something, because I think we did. Yeah, so we didn't copy this CTA block advanced CSS here. So I'm going to click on CTA here, come to advanced CSS, then um, put in the code. Then I think we also missed one at the top here. So yeah, the CTC wrapper for the outer section. So I'm going to click on the outer section here. Then I'm going to put in the stuff here. So as I said, you don't have to worry about the style not showing immediately. So we are just going to quickly copy in the CSS code and the JavaScript code again because I mistakenly deleted that, right? So the next thing you want to do is you come down here. So as you can see, the animation works even inside here. So then I'll show you how to quickly troubleshoot the mobile device version in case you have issues with that. So you can see the design on the front end there. So let me just slow that down, design. So you can see, but there is a bit of an issue here. Let's start clicking through from the outer section. So yeah, this is boxed. Let's make this full width. The design works best when it is full width. Then you'd be able to see the whole effects here. You understand? They will have more breathing space. And also, I think we duplicated this heading CSS here. So let me just click through, go to heading group, go to the title, come down here. Yeah, I'm just going to delete that. Let's just save that. Then we're going to check what it looks like on the front end again. So as you can see, this has more spacing here now that it is full width. So you can see it has more spacing, and if we scroll you can see the full effect. So if I make this a mobile version as well, you can see the animation here on the mobile version as well. So if this isn't showing up the way you want it to, if you come to the instruction guide here, you can see this mobile behavior and customizing guide here. So this is what you want to change for each card. So you can see you check apply in both CSS and the JavaScript code in Elementor. So if we come down here, you understand. So another thing you want to do to free up small spaces, you come to the outer stuff here, come to the parent, then you go to advanced, then you remove the padding. You understand? You come to this thing, you remove the padding. You understand, to free up more space for your design. Basically, you play around with that, or you come to the HTML widgets here, then you scroll down. At the bottom, you see this CTC card one, all these codes here. If you also check the instruction here, you can see the instructions here that you're supposed to set. So what you want to do is you just play around with the positioning. For example, if I change this to 10, for example, you can see that it moves. If I change the top to 10, you understand, you can see that it's moved. So you just play around with that. You understand, play around with the stuff. Then once you get a suitable layout that you want, you understand, then you're going to click on save. Then that is all.